Hey guys, this is Science Day 4. This is going to be a longer video only because this science lesson has a lot of resources in it, and it has some text that goes along with those resources. So we're going to use this information to answer questions 16 through 20. There is a writing at the end. Some of y'all in the last writing, you told me the answer, but remember, when we go to write for science, we need to have our claim, we need to have evidence, and we need to have reasoning. So make sure that you're really taking the time to practice your claim, your evidence, and your reasoning. All right, so here we have beavers. Beavers are mammals that are found in most of North America. Beavers have several body structures that help them live. So one of them is a large flat tail, helps the beaver stand upright on land and steer when swimming. The beaver also slaps the water with its tail to warn when danger is near. They also have thick fur that keeps the beaver warm and protects it in the water. And then lastly, they have webbed back feet, which make it easier for the beaver to swim. So here they're showing you a picture of a beaver and then some of the structures that beavers have and what they do. In our next source, we have the beaver teeth. It says the beaver also has long front teeth that grow throughout its life. The front teeth have a sharp edge. A beaver's teeth are shown in picture 2. So here we can see the beaver's teeth right here. The beaver uses its sharp teeth to cut down trees. The beaver eats the inner bark of the trees. The beaver uses the trees to build a lodge in which it lives. So here you can see a tree limb that the beaver is eating or bringing to build its lodge. And then here's our third source. We have the beaver dam. The beaver also uses the trees to make a dam across a stream, which changes the environment, as shown in picture 3. The dam slows the water flow to form a pond, and you can kind of see that there's a pond down here. Wooded areas or meadows are changed into wetlands. Some plants die when the area floods. Other plants are able to grow better because of the water. The pond forms a home for water plants and animals. Dead trees give homes to insects and birds. So here was our third source, and we're going to need each one of these sources to answer those questions. So I'm going to lay those out so that I have my source 1. I have my source 2 and my source 3. All right, so 16A. It says a student wants to investigate how the beaver is different from most other mammals in the wild. Which question should the student investigate? So let's go through each question and talk about it. A says, how many other mammals eat trees or other plants to survive? Well, that's not really going to tell me what's different about the beaver compared to most other mammals. B, how many other mammals live in an environment that includes water? Well, again, that's not really going to tell me anything about how the beaver is different from any other mammal. C, do most other mammals have body structures adapted to places where they live? Well, you should already know the answer to that because we've learned about structure and function and animal adaptation. Of course, each animal has different structures and functions to help them survive in their environment. So C would not be a good answer either. D, do most other mammals change the environment to meet their survival needs? That's a good question. The beaver is a mammal that changes its environment, but do all mammals change their environment? So D would be a good question to ask. B, which information would best support the answer to part A? So if we are looking at how mammals change the environment, then our answer down here needs to be something that also can change the environment. So A, the beaver cuts down trees for food. If a beaver is cutting down trees, is that going to change the environment? B, the beaver builds dams to form ponds. If a beaver builds dams to form ponds, is that going to change the environment? C, the beaver has thick fur to keep warm. Is the beaver's fur going to change the environment? D, the beaver uses its tail to steer in the water. Is the beaver swimming going to change the environment? And E, the beaver has special teeth for chewing through wood. Is the beaver chewing through wood going to change the environment? So here you want to select two answer choices that could possibly lead to the beaver changing the environment, because that is what we chose for part A. All right, let's look at the next question. 17, part A. Which claim best explains how one body structure helps the beaver survive? So we're looking at the body structure, we're looking at how it helps it survive, and this is a claim, which means it's an answer. So remember, your claim is your answer. A, the beaver's tail helps the beaver build a home. Well, if we look back at our sources, it says that the large flat tail helps the beaver stand upright on land and steer when swimming. So does the beaver's tail help the beaver build a home? No. So let's look at B. The beaver's feet can be used to fight off predators. Okay, so again, let's look at our source here. It says the webbed back feet make it easier for the beaver to swim. But does it fight off predators? No. So there's no evidence to support this claim. C, the beaver's fur helps it hide during winter weather. So let's look at the fur. It says thick fur keeps the beaver warm and protects it in the water. But does it talk about how it helps it hide? No. So again, we don't have any evidence to support this claim. And D, the beaver's teeth can be used to eat a special kind of food. Okay, so here we are going to look at the beaver teeth source, and it says that the beaver eats the inner bark of trees. Would you say that that's a special kind of food? Sure. It's not something typically mammals eat. They normally eat plants or animals, not the inside of trees. So we do have evidence to support the claim for D. So using that, we're talking about teeth here. Now we need to find part B, which evidence best supports the answer to part A. Well, if we're talking about teeth in part A, then we should probably talk about teeth in part B. So A says the beaver has thick, warm fur. Well, that has nothing to do with teeth. B, the beaver's back feet are webbed. Again, that has nothing to do with teeth. C, the beaver's front teeth keep growing. Okay, I remember reading here, the beaver also has long front teeth that grow throughout its life. So would you agree that the teeth keep growing? Yes, and it relates back to what we selected for part A. And lastly, the beaver slaps the water with its tail. Well, does that have anything to do with the beaver's teeth? No. Okay, so guys, when you're answering these, you want to make sure that you're using every source that they give you, because you're going to have to pull evidence to how you know it's the correct answer. Also, if you select an answer for part A and it has a part B, they're going to go hand in hand. They're going to go together. So if we're talking about teeth, you don't want to talk about fur. So make sure that you're careful when selecting your answers for those types of questions as well. All right, number 18. In which ways do two body structures of the beaver work together to help the beaver survive? So we're looking for two body structures, and they have to work together. That's important. So it says to select two answers. All right, A, the tail helps steer while the webbed feet help the beaver swim. Okay, so if we look here, it says the large flat tail helps the beaver stand upright on land and steer when swimming. So that part is correct. And then the webbed feet help the beaver swim. And it says webbed feet make it easier for the beaver to swim. Yes, both of these go hand in hand together because it deals with the beaver swimming. B, the tail sounds a warning while the teeth are used to fight predators. So we learned that the tail can be used to warn, but the teeth are not used to fight predators. We learned that the beaver's teeth are used to eat the inner bark of trees and to use those trees to build lodges. So this first part is correct, but the second part is not. C, the tail helps the beaver stand upright while the teeth are used to cut down trees. So the flat tail helps the beaver stand upright, so that part is correct. The teeth is used to cut down trees. And here it says the teeth are used to cut down trees. So that's both correct. D, the feet are used for walking while the tail keeps the beaver balanced when walking on all 4 feet. Okay, the feet are not used for walking. I mean, I'm sure, well, they are, but it doesn't help, the tail does not help it stay balanced while it's walking. It helps it stand upright, but it doesn't help it stay balanced. So this one's not correct. And lastly, the fur keeps the beaver warm while the teeth are used to clean the fur. We know that the fur kept the beaver warm. However, we did not read anything about how the teeth are used to clean the fur. So that's not correct. So here, using our sources and pulling evidence for these answers, there are only 2 correct answers here where both of them were correct. All right. Number 19. Which statement best describes a way that a beaver causes a change to its environment? So we're looking for a change to its environment. And if you remember, source 3, it says a beaver also uses the trees to make a dam across a stream, which changes the environment. So we are looking specifically at how the beaver changes its environment, and they give us 6 different ways in which it could. So A says the habitat for other animals in the area is greatly reduced. Well, it does say that some plants die when the area floods. However, it goes back and says that other plants are able to grow better, and the pond forms a home for water plants and animals, and the dead trees give homes to insects and birds. So I would not agree that the habitat for other animals is greatly reduced. I would actually say that the habitat is, it gives more homes for animals and plants. B, faster water flow past a dam helps clean the water. Well, if you look here, it doesn't give us any evidence about how faster water through the dam cleans the water. So that wouldn't be true. C, a dam increases downstream flooding during times of heavy rainfall. Well, again, it doesn't talk about anything having heavy rainfall. So we can't say that it floods due to heavy rainfall. It says some plants die when the area floods, but that flooding may not be from heavy rainfall. It may be from the blockage of the dam. And then D, higher water levels provide more water for trees during dry periods. So in this case, it says wooded areas or meadows are changed into wetlands. So yes, those trees are getting more water during dry periods. All right, and lastly, number 20. So here's the writing. Remember what I talked about in the beginning. You want to make sure that you have your claim and your evidence. This one, you don't really need to have reasoning for, and I'm going to tell you why. It says beavers make changes that harm farmland. Make a claim, so that means you have to answer the question, about a problem that beavers may cause for a farmer. In your response, be sure to use evidence to support your claim. Then explain at least 2 ways that the problem can be solved. So, your claim, you're telling me what the problem is. So claim, tell me the problem. Also, make sure you write it in a complete sentence. Your evidence, I want you to pull at least 2 pieces, and you can pull them from any of those 3 sources. So you can pull them from source 1, source 2, or source 3. And you don't have to put reasoning, but then at the bottom, I want you to explain at least 2 ways that the problem can be solved. And this is more or less your opinion. So you're gonna need 2 sentences here. So I'm gonna put solution, because you gotta figure out a solution. And I want at least 2 sentences for this part. So really, guys, you would probably have 5 sentences total by the time you're done with this. So please make sure that you are really taking your time to write this out. All right, guys, get started.